Hello, everybody. This is the final episode of Ballin with Bill here in 2020, and I have a fine guest here. Thank you, Sideline Power, for being a sponsor and taking care of this and opportunity to do this with these fellow coaches throughout the state of Nebraska and Iowa. But anyway, I want to welcome Kirk Peterson here from Millard West. He's been an outstanding coach, defensive coordinator for a long time now in the Omaha area. Played at UNO, and we used to have a football team, and started football, played high school football, and so I'm going to get him started. And Coach, how'd you end up starting on football? How'd you get started? I know you. I think your dad was a coach, if I remember right.
But yeah, both my parents were educators in the Des Moines public schools.
Okay, you're from Des Moines. That's right.
For 40 plus years, and that's how you made money in those days. You know, Dad coached 3 sports, whatever sport was in season. I got to go on bus trips as far back as I can remember. So that was. Playing football was going to be the thing, and mom paid the bills by being the department head and running the business department at various schools that she was at. But I spent a lot of time trailing my dad around, and that's where it came from.
Oh wow, okay. What position did you play in high school?
Believe it or not, I played quarterback.
That's right. I forget that.
Yeah, I don't know why. When everyone went to start picking positions, no one said quarterback. I said, well, I'll try this. And, I wasn't very good at it, but, that's what I did. And tried the best I could, just wasn't very good at it.
Now, you played your whole career high school quarterback?
Yep. And back in those days.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Des Moines Hoover.
Okay. Hoover.
And back in those days, quarterbacks only played one side, and that's all I did. I never played defense or anything like that.
Really?
So, and you played grade level all the way through. You had to be really extra special to get moved up, back in the 80s.
Right.
So I just was a quarterback for 4 years in high school. It was fun, but we weren't any good.
So now you got, did Sandy recruit you at UNO?
Yep. Sandy recruited me, and changed my life, really. I never anticipated, sitting here doing something like this.
Right. That
long ago. No way. But Sandy Voodoo saw something on film that they liked, and just really, really fortunate that I made the move that I did.
Now, were you recruiting anybody else, or just?
Yeah, could have gone to Kearney.
Okay.
Coach Boroff out there, and then Northeast Missouri State at the time, which is now Truman.
Yeah.
They also had a little bit of interest in me, and Truman probably is a little bit too brainy of a school for me. So,
but that just changed your.
It's been a few.
Northeast,
years.
It was kind of a regular college.
Yeah, but it came really down to Kearney and UNO, and I just couldn't really see myself in a smaller community. Not that Des Moines is some huge metropolis, but it was a bigger town, and
right.
I was pretty close. My mom's side of the family is from southeast Nebraska, and it was close to them, so. I just thought Omaha's going to be home, so
cool.
That was it.
So now, what Sandy recruit you as when he first started?
At first, it was a quarterback.
Really?
And
okay.
I learned so much so fast. That first year.
Who was the OC when you came in? Was Chuck the OC?
No, he was not there. Gosh, Bruce McAllister. I know I was on the headsets with on Saturdays.
Okay.
And he would always yell at me because I would be yelling into the headphones, and Coach would be yelling at me to stop doing that. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I was just excited because I learned so much that first fall that it was awesome. So then life changed.
What happened
that spring?
What happened?
I think they saw that I wasn't a quarterback. I mean, I know you look at me and go, there's no way this kid could run or jump, but I could do both of those things okay. So at first they were going to, they talked to me about being a goal line quarterback and running the wishbone a little bit and doing some things. But then they came back. I think that was the spring that they outlawed spring ball contact.
For one spring they did that?
Yeah. I mean, we had to play flag.
Really?
Yeah, we still had spring workouts and everything, but I can't remember it specifically, but it was so long ago.
About that, yeah.
But it was some screwy rule that we couldn't have a lot of contact. So then after that, they said, well, this isn't going to work, and then they moved me to outside linebacker.
Oh, really?
Yep. They they moved me over to defense, and I just wanted to play. I didn't really care where.
Same with me.
So that's how I got started learning defense, and here we are.
So now was Tom the head defensive coordinator back then too?
Yep. After Sandy retired that year, and after the fall of '89, and then Tom Mueller was the coach, and I still remember some of the things that he taught us defensively, especially getting ready to play North Dakota State and learning how to play option football and how to defend it and do those things, and just really, really invaluable stuff that I still use today.
And North Dakota State ran a heck of a triple back then, and they had some speed up there too.
They were okay.
Yeah, they were okay. They're still pretty dang okay.
Yeah, they're average.
So that was always the big game every year, is playing the Bison in South Dakota.
Yep, it was fun. It was always fun.
So now my brother coached you a little bit too, didn't he? There for a bit, or didn't he 1 year before he went to move to Millard South as AD?
Yeah, I'm thinking that he's tried to forget those that 3 months of his life.
Was that your
we did
your
have
senior
fun.
year or junior year?
Oh, I think it was my red shirt junior year. I think it was '92.
Okay, because I remember after that, then he went over to Millard
I think
South.
it was '92 that he did that, and we always had fun at practice. He always made things fun. I always gave him a hard time coming from Hayes, Kansas.
Yeah,
at the
because
time.
his head coach out of Hayes. Yeah.
I said, "Was this the way we did it at Hayes and things like that?" So it was always fun.
Good deal. So now, after you did all that and graduated, your dad was a coach, so it was probably a natural thing to get into education and all that.
Yeah, I was going to be. Long story short, I had to declare a major, and like every kid, you never wanted to be like your parents.
I was
going to go be an accountant, and it took me one college accounting class to figure out that no. So there was a time you had to declare your major before you were eligible, or you'd be eligible to play. So here it is, the Friday afternoon before one of our games, and they said, "You haven't declared a major." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?"
Yeah.
Well, my mom was a business education teacher.
Right.
That sounds pretty good. I can do that. So, because I like numbers and doing things like that, and went in, declared business education, and knew I wanted to coach, and that's kind of how that came about.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I started out as criminal justice. I went to 2 criminal justice classes to see what they had to do. I said, and that same thing. I think I about 2 games. 2 Sandy coming. You need to declare a major. And I said, okay. So I went into education. That's where my folks were in.
So then I declared, and they bring me in. I don't know. Maybe it was that spring. They were going to discontinue the program. I had gotten in, but they had a grid, and they highlighted every student that was in that program, and they highlighted all the classes that you had to take. And I had the longest list of classes to do. And I'm like, oh my God, I mean, this is not good, because they could pull the rug out from under you at any time. So I'm like, maybe business education isn't the right thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what about special education? Because at the time, you're thinking about, how am I going to be the most employable, way when you get done. So I thought, what about special ed? And I went that route because I knew I'd get hired.
Right.
I didn't know where.
Yeah.
But I knew I would get a job, because there's a big need for that. So that's how I ended up getting into special ed. And obviously I had a physical education endorsement too.
Right.
And those jobs are impossible to find when you're first coming out.
Because they hold on to them.
Yeah, you're not giving that up. So I did the special ed thing. So that's how that's what I did. And I knew I wanted to coach 3 sports, because that's what Dad did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that came from. And I've enjoyed it, for 26 years now.
So now, what other sport? I know you do football and track. What's the other sport you
I did basketball, and
okay, so
that
was
was
with Mr. Hook then.
Yeah, Coach Hook. He gave me a chance. Max did with track, and then obviously Dan did with football. And but I had aspirations to be a basketball coach.
Really?
Yeah, basketball was my thing. I just really, really liked it, and I thought that's what it was going to be. And then Dan really changed my life.
How'd that? Because was that your first job? Was Millard West your first?
It's the only place I've ever been.
No kidding. I didn't know if you went somewhere right out of college or not.
I don't know if very many people have had a career like mine and where I've been one place.
No, that's a
started,
rarity.
I started in 1995 and just haven't seen the need to leave. And when he walked in the spring of 1998 and said, "You're going to be the defensive coordinator," that changed my life right there.
So
basketball.
you were doing all three at that time.
I did all three up until 2002. I think.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were coaching basketball in the 2000s when I came.
Well, I was single. You know, I didn't have anything else to do. I mean, you know, why not? You know, and that was still back in the time when you talked about kids being multiple sport,
Right.
3 sport athletes, not 2.
Right.
And we had a lot of those back then, and Millard West was really good back then because we had the same kids from basketball or from football to basketball to track.
Because Dan even helped coach basketball too in the early.
We
years.
all started together.
Yeah.
I mean, the coaching staff that they put together of head coaches was incredible. Just they had an unbelievable experience coming in. Steve Yankel.
Okay, that's right, Steve. Yeah.
So and he did a good job of they all did a great job of putting a plan together and formulating it and just unbelievable. Then when Dan told me in '98 I was going to run the defense, life changed again. You know, then I got a little serious and basketball kind of started to get put back a little bit. I still did it, and then got married, and then Logan, my oldest daughter, made an appearance in November of 2000, and I was coming home just shot from 3 sports, and I didn't. She'd fall asleep on me, and I'd fall asleep. Never ever had any time with her, so had to make a decision. And basketball was the one that I had to give up. So, and it's worked out all right.
Yeah,
but that's again where I'm sitting.
I hear you. So now you still do football and track, right?
Yep.
'Cause you were doing that. I know when I've been around you a lot too.
Yeah, the two go together. I mean, matter of fact, I was making my off-season calendar today, and I say it every year, and I said, you know, guys, if you can't run, you can't play. And there's only one way to get faster, and that's by lifting a little bit, and then you got to run.
Right.
You know, and we've had a pretty good track record of success in track because football kids have done a good job, you know, in our sprint crews through the years. So it's just really important to me that those are really 2 big things that go hand in hand.
Because you work with the sprinters, don't you? And the jumpers, or what?
Wherever they need me.
Yeah.
You know, I've done hurdles, sprints, some
I know you did. You did hurdles when Bobby ran. I know that.
Yep. Bobby was the ultimate project. Once I got that soccer ball out of his head, you know, I'll give you a good story about
Give
him.
me a story about Bobby.
So we're telling kids, hey, you need to do something in the spring. We don't care what. You know, we've got Millard West has a great baseball school.
Right.
A lot of our best kids play baseball. Go do it. Fine.
Right.
Bobby says, why go out for soccer? And that was still at the time that soccer wasn't really
like it is today.
Not like today.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what position do you play in soccer? Because I'm thinking about the running and moving aspect. He goes, well, I play goalie.
That's right. He was a pretty good goalie too.
I said, then you don't play soccer. You're a goalie.
What did Bobby say?
He just kind of looked at me. You know, he gets that little confused look on his face. I said, all right, go do it. Well, that spring, then he comes out for track, and I got him in the hurdles, and he needed to hurdle now because he would have qualified for the state meet twice. He got 4th in our district or 5th in our district or something. No, I got that wrong. I think he was 7th. He didn't qualify for the finals or something, and ended up his time would have been he would have placed in the state meet the last 3 or 4 years.
Right.
You know, as both a junior and a senior, so it was fun doing that with him. You know, he turned out to be a pretty fair athlete for us, but I think the hurdling part was huge for him.
Yeah.
You know, so he was fun to coach too.
So now you became defensive coordinator. What kind of a defense did you? I remember, but I want you to tell what kind of a defense and how you came abrupt on doing that type of defense. And
well, it wasn't anything that I came up with. I can guarantee you that. I mean, they when Dan was hired, he hired Greg Dushcott, who was working with Coach Petito over at Millard North.
Right.
And I just, you know, started spending time with Greg, and he taught me the defense.
Okay.
And then we've been really fortunate at our place. We've had great players. You know, there wasn't a lot of stunting or anything that we had to do. You know, you didn't have to take a lot of risks or anything. We played 4 down linemen. We had 4 linebackers, and you played cover 3 defense. And if somebody could out-execute you and block us, they were going to beat us. That just didn't happen very often. So we really focused on technique, you know, and we really are still doing the same thing today. Now, the game's obviously changed.
You've done a lot more. You've adapted a lot. I know watching your stuff. Yeah.
I wish it would go back to the old way.
3 hours in a cloud of dust.
Life would be a lot easier.
I mean, the formations when you first started wasn't everybody pretty much got an eye. Or
Yeah,
Fred was the one of the original ones that kind of spread you out with
Right.
but he still came back in and ran the dang triple.
I'm trying to think. In 2000 was about the first time that Omaha Central, they still were a pro formation, I formation, toss sweep team.
Right.
But then they would start going 2x2 without a tight end.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is that?
And they had the athletes to get the 2x2.
And David Horn at the time, who had beat us in the finals in '99 at prep, was a slot guy.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, how am I going to cover this guy?
You don't want to be in cover 3.
And I didn't want to get beat 4 vertical, so we ended up just playing all man-free coverage. Well, after a while, we were getting cooked.
Right.
You want to see something funny? Watch McLaughlin get mad at you when you're getting cooked all the time. That was fun.
His dad's background was defense too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. And he would remind me of it frequently. And I'd tell him, we joke about this now. Whenever something bad happened, he never stood by me. I mean, when he said, another great thing that I learned from him is you hire assistant coaches to let them coach, and
right.
He did. And
he
I try to do that as much as I can. But whenever something bad would happen defensively, I would kind of look. I wouldn't, I'm looking out at the field, but I'd kind of move my eyes back and I'd see if he was coming down the sideline. and we still tell the stories to this day. He'd come flailing his arms down the sideline, and I'd just walk away from him, and we laugh about that when we get together and tell stories. But the game really changed from that point on. People started to spread it and throw it all over the place, and for a variety of reasons. But I think it's good for the game. Do some different things, and 3 yards in a cloud of dust is fun. For 4-minute offense, but not for 48 that we play now. So it is what it is.
What did you do to adapt? What kind of things did you do?
Well, you try to make things simple for kids.
Right.
You don't want to overload them with so many things that they have to think.
Right.
You just want to turn them loose and play. And we've kind of evolved into a more 4-3 team now. I never in a million years would have thought I'd ever say that. I just thought the 4-3 was the worst defense in the world. And part of that was we tried it at UNO a little bit, and we just weren't very good at it. Mm-hmm. And that was always in the back of my head. It wasn't successful there for a variety of reasons. One of them probably sitting here trying to execute it. But
were you the Mike or the Sam?
No, I was an end guy.
Oh,
I was an edge. I was an edge rusher, and I wasn't fast enough to do it. So, long story, that just stuck in the back of my head.
Right.
And it's funny now that we've evolved to that. That's what we do. We do very little 3-man stuff. So, if you play Millard West, you're going to see a 4-down front. Right. Something's really weird happening if we've got a 3-man front.
Right.
So,
when you look at your talent, how do you adjust your talent? Do you look more for a better Mike linebacker? What do you guys do different?
Well,
because you always had the 2 inside when you were running that 42.
Yeah. You start inside, because people are going to run in the A gap if there's no reason to run B, C, or D if
right.
you can just run A all day. So you better have a good nose guard, you better have a good Mike, and you better have a good free safety.
Right.
Because the ball won't ever leave the middle of the formation. So, that's how we just build it inside out and hope that the genetics in West Omaha keep coming our way.
Yeah. Well, they've been very successful for you and Millard South both.
Yeah, and all 3 of us, all 3 schools have been blessed with so many good players.
Right.
And it's, you'd like to take credit as a coach a little bit, but it's the kids. I know, and if there's a coach out there that thinks they're better than the kids, they're on drugs. So I mean, I'm not sitting here without the kids that have come through Millard West High School. They've been just incredible.
Yeah, I know you guys have. You had a lot of success. I mean, I've watched you through the years, and defensively, you're always hustled, played hard, tough kids. I mean, got to the ball, did a lot of good things, and offensively, because when I first came there, you ran the wing T, I think.
Yeah, Dan was
a wing T, and I've seen you guys evolved offensively too.
Dan was a wing T guy, but he liked triple. The veer's never going to go away from Millard West. It's just in a different form now.
Right.
So we were a big wing T team, and then when he went to Nebraska, when I got the head job, that was kind of the decision I had to make. What direction do I want to go? And it's hard. I had never had the slightest clue how hard it would be to make that decision. And we tried to keep it as much wing T as we could. But people were starting to get onto us a little bit. And then I favored more I formation stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we've gone to, is more multiple I formation. And, when Larry got to Omaha North, they did such a great job of running power. I just became infatuated with it. Yeah, I used to think it was the easiest play in football to defend, except if somebody executes it against you.
Right. Power is a great play.
I fell in love with it, and it's a big, big part of what we do. I still love triple, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of how we've evolved a little bit.
My two favorite were always the power and the counter sweep.
Yeah.
If you had the people to run.
Yep. If you got the dogs to do it, it's great.
Really, and then the play action off that's incredible.
Yeah. One of these times we're going to figure out to throw a play action pass at Millard West. I don't think we have for about 3 years.
Really?
Oh, we've been fortunate. We haven't had to.
Gotcha. Now you still spread them out and throw the ball. I know that.
Yeah, that's something that I'm always looking to learn that stuff. And you and I have had so many arguments through the years about throwing it.
I had to. I had no choice to.
But
I couldn't get the big hosses like you guys had.
And the older I get, I'm finally going, now I understand what these guys are saying. And just when it's 3rd and 8, you better be able to throw the ball downfield. And there's nothing worse than throwing it sideways.
Oh. You see that enough on Saturdays.
I'm guilty of it.
I know. I did it too.
Guilty of it because it's safe and all these things.
Right. But if you don't get those edge people blocked, you're done.
Yeah, not on 3rd and 8.
No.
So you're throwing it behind the line of scrimmage. You got to gain 5 yards just to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
There's a time and a place for it, but you got to be able to throw the ball downfield a little bit, and that's something I'm always trying to learn about. And I still laugh when we were in San Antonio. We were upstairs at one of the local establishments. I think it was the Texas Tech staff.
Yeah.
Coach Leach wasn't there, but a lot of his assistants were.
Right.
I'm going to butcher his name, but he's the O-line coach. I swear he's the O-line coach at Oklahoma, was up there.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. Beanenbo.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't always. I butcher it too.
I'm not even going to try.
Billy. I always call him Billy because he had the same first name as I did.
I sat across the table from him, telling him how stupid he was.
I remember you did that. I was sitting there. We were all sitting there having a beer. I remember that.
Joe Schmo high school coach telling this guy, we probably shouldn't have been there. I'll be honest, but I just think back about that. And matter of fact, I was in Norman, a year or so ago, and I went down to watch my nephew play baseball. And we're sitting having lunch, and I see him walk by, and he's showing these guys around, and I'm sitting there thinking of that story, going, "Wow, look at me now." I
remember you telling Bill that.
I'm a broke high school coach, and this guy's making $1 million a year, and I'm telling him he doesn't know what he's doing.
I remember you sitting there telling me, and they just because I think that was the year they beat Nebraska too in a big game too and everything.
I think everyone beat Nebraska that year though. So, but that's
But I remember
I love what they do. I mean, my gosh,
it's very similar to the option.
Yes.
But you've got to have the same patience that you do in the option, and it's hard to do that when you want to get big yards throwing the ball.
And it's not hard.
No,
it's not hard. The concepts that they have put together are just awesome.
Yeah, because you see them in the NFL now.
Everywhere.
Yes,
everywhere. So I mean, those guys are awesome to listen to and learn from. They're so open with their information. It's just awesome. So that's been fun watching that evolve and to learn about it. I never in a million years would have thought I'd do anything with the air raid.
Yeah.
That's all I read about.
I've seen some of it.
When
you play. Yeah, I've seen some of it. You guys use some of the concepts too.
It's simple. It's simple stuff.
Very easy to teach.
Yeah,
it is. So let's go back here now. I remember when you got the head job, and Dan went to Nebraska up there with Frank. Frank was still the head coach, right? When did he?
Yes, he GA'd with Frank.
Yeah. Because the guy we had on last week, Jamrock, Jeff was the line coach.
Jeff was down there, and that was when Dan.
So when you first got the head job, because you've been there now as assistant for quite a while, been part of that high school and the chain, how you started from, because you started from scratch, just to do high school and built that thing up. So what'd you do different, or what'd you do the same that Dan when you took over as a head coach?
I don't necessarily think I tried to change anything. I mean, the biggest thing is when you get that job is you just don't try to screw it up. And I wanted to make sure that our kids were prepared physically and mentally. I wasn't going to let them take any shortcuts. Like we hadn't taken any shortcuts to get to where we were, and I wanted to make sure we continued that. And try to go learn from as many people as I could. Just, try to get as many free clinics as I could. Whenever a college coach had come in, and for recruiting, I tried to steal 5-10 minutes, just talk scheme, talk technique, and just continue to learn to make sure we're putting our kids in a good position to be successful.
Yeah, you had a lot of. I mean, how many kids you've had go Division I since you've been there? I mean, it's incredible what you guys.
Not nearly as
a lot
many
of Division II.
Yeah, not nearly as many as people think. We've had a few. I mean, I think.
You got one playing at Buffalo right now.
Yeah, Harry's the one that everyone knows about, but I go back to. I'm trying to think who our first Division I recruit was. I think it was Chris Septak, as a tight end.
Yeah, I think it was.
That went to Nebraska.
Then you had the kid went to Iowa State.
Then the Leaders brothers went to Iowa State.
Right.
And those, you get those type of kids. They make you look really smart.
Right.
And then, boy, you get a couple walk-ons, down in Nebraska, and then, boy, I'm trying to think who was after, or who was before Phillips. That was a D1. I'm probably obviously.
I know you've been there for 28 years. You guys put out.
I
know you put out a lot of D2 kids.
I'm getting old because I can't remember. I used to be able to remember all this stuff.
I know how it is.
But the D2 was, if we've had a ton of those kids.
I know. Then the one AA now because
because
those are the same schools you and I played against.
Yeah, and it was even using Bobby as an example. I mean, he was a perfect D2 player.
Right.
And had a just awesome career. It was fun to watch it. And what I tell kids is you want to go somewhere where you can get a great education, where you can go and have as little debt as you can when you walk out, and you get to play football for 4 more years.
Right.
At that level, if you're really, really fortunate, you'll get a look for the league. And we've had a couple, Matt Longacre and Harry obviously have been able to do that.
Is he still playing? Is Longacre still
Nope.
playing?
He, this is cool. The last football game he ever played was a Super Bowl. Pretty good way to walk out.
Yeah,
I know. He played for the Rams. Played for the Rams when they played the Patriots, and I think he played 4 years.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Because he was a free agent.
Yep. And he just, I said, why are you quitting? He goes, I'm tired. I said, totally get it. And to walk out playing in the Super Bowl, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
what's he doing now?
I think he's running a hunting outfit in South Dakota.
Oh.
If you know Matt at all.
Yeah. I know his dad real well.
That's Matt Longacre to a T.
Yeah. That's not a bad gig.
He actually was the one that got me to like soccer. He played soccer his freshman.
You let him play it, but not Bobby, huh?
No. Freshman and sophomore year. I didn't think he was this skinny little.
Oh, I remember when skinny when I first met him. When he was
a freshman and sophomore, you're like, okay, hi Matt, nice to meet you. We'll be in the weight room. He's running around playing soccer. All of a sudden, he showed up his junior year. I became a really good D-line coach that year, all because of him.
He had a great career at Northwest Missouri State.
Oh yeah, and
All-American.
Yeah,
a couple national championships.
I remember when Scott called me, Boswick called me, and he says, "Oh my God, what did you give me?" And I said, "Yeah."
Nobody looked at him D1, huh?
Nope.
Why? What was the reasoning? Because he was a nice, big, tall, lean kid with long arms. I never understood that.
It was back when things were different, starting to be different in Lincoln.
Gotcha.
When the first guy they hired from the Raiders, Coach
Right.
Callahan, they just ran things different. They went in a different direction, and the walk-on program or the in-state people weren't a priority for them. And that was the direction that they wanted to go. They're still paying the price for it today. They're still cleaning up that mess.
Yeah, I know he is. That's what he's trying to do.
It's a hard job.
Oh, it is. It's not hard.
But that, yeah.
Because now you got all the competition in here taking kids too.
But
a lot more than you did back then.
That's, sending Matt to Northwest. We've had great success at the Division II level, and then the number of
Who was the
NAIA
nose
kids.
tackle you said there? That was a heck of a nose tackle that played well too.
Brandon Yost.
Yeah, he was
Matt
a heck of a wrestler. Yeah,
they played together. They're both wrestlers. I'll give my shameless plug for wrestling. With Dan Hours in wrestling,
Yeah.
They've got their picture on the wall being a state medalist for Millard West. Brandon was actually a state champion.
Yeah, I know he was.
So
he was two times in a row, wasn't he? He was 2 times. Wasn't he?
You know what? I don't remember. I know he won it his senior year.
I think he won a junior and senior. And your one kid, the kid that played for the Bills, won it all 3 years.
Yeah, he won it 3. But then you go a step below the NAIA schools. That is, if you want to just play, they're just looking for players.
Right.
And there are so many people that don't understand how good a football that is. Now the changeup is the cost of going to an NAIA school it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
So you got to be a really good student to get that price tag down, and they help you out as much as they can. But we've had a lot of success sending kids at all
I coached
at
some
all
of
the
your
levels.
kids at Dan.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way down. BJ and Alex.
Ellsbury all came there.
Yeah, Greg Ellsbury. Here's one that we think he played was Marcus Gorgeous.
Yeah, he played for me, and then Finky played for me.
Because he's running the Volvo dealership.
Did he take over from his dad?
Yeah, he sold 2 cars to 2 of my assistants this week.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So it's funny. That was so.
Yeah,
long
Marcus
ago,
was a nose tackle for me.
Yeah. So they've all had.
And then Finky was a heck of a linebacker. I don't know if you remember Finky.
Oh, absolutely. He was part of. He played with Bobby.
Yeah.
He was a year older than Bobby, but
he was
those
a physical
kids,
kid.
Doesn't matter what level you go to. It's that's another thing that Bostwick taught me. He goes, the big time's where your feet are. And if you go play at Dana College or you go play at Northwest Missouri or Kearney or wherever, it's what you make out of it. And hopefully we get some kids this year. We've got a ton of kids looking at the NAIA schools, and I hope they don't get caught up into the small college thing. But it's just if you want to play football, it's a great thing to do. Yeah. So.
Now, I know you're a big weight room, so how's the weight room? Because I know you're a big weight room guy, because you're like me in that way. You believe in it, and believe that's where you build a lot of the programs, other than your track program.
Yeah, it's you got to spend time in there. Matter of fact, I just chastised our kids this morning. Some of them want to be in there for 2 and 3 hours. I said, you don't need to be in here 2 and 3 hours. You come in for, if you've got an hour to get your workout in. We had 7 or 8 lifts to do. We got them done in an hour today, and I said that's how long it should take. You get in here, you do your work, and get out. We got to be wise with our time, and be intense when you're in here, get your work done, and then go be a kid. I think that's really important. That one of the things that I've tried to do as I've gotten older is make sure that we're not, just wearing them out, keeping them up at school for 4 and 5 hours every day. It doesn't need to be like that. Yeah. So,
how many seniors you got coming up next year?
Oh, well, we got a smaller class. I'm gonna probably say about 25. We're usually in the right around 30 every year, but the numbers are shrinking a little bit for a variety of reasons, but probably about 25.
Good deal. Well, Coach, I do appreciate your time today.
Been awesome.
And awesome. You're knowing you a long time
Yeah.
since I moved here from Dana and met you when you were coaching over there at Dan when Bobby and that crew was playing for you.
Yeah.
Went to all his senior games. I remember that you made a sophomore remember that sophomore that came out in the state championship game nobody knew about, ended up being a heck of a running back.
Oh,
Played in the NFL. Some North Platte.
Oh,
that was his first big game. Was those playoffs because he was backing up somebody.
I always make the joke when I see some of those guys that played on that team. I said, yeah, you did a heck of a job on Woodhead that day.
That's where he made his name.
He had over, I don't know, I want to say he had like 110 yards or something, right. But he had 75 on one run.
Yeah, he made everybody.
But on that 75-yard run, I think Bobby and I think Scott McLaughlin, I think Nick Leaders, and probably all 11 guys that were on the field.
Yeah.
At some point in time during that run, they all ran into each other, trying to get him.
I know. I'll never forget because nobody knew who he was.
Oh my gosh!
And then after that he
people
played in the NFL.
I'll tell you something about him. People don't understand. His older brother was a quarterback on that team who was just as good.
Right.
He just that was funny. After that play, we got over to the bench. They were mad because they didn't want to give up any points.
Right. And
I said, just relax. Everyone take a deep breath, and we're going to be just fine. And we held him in check pretty good after that. But that's my coaching claim to fame is I only gave up 110 to Woodhead one time. And 75 of it was on run. So I did pretty good.
We didn't know who he was. I was sitting there with my brother. Who in the heck is that kid? He goes, I don't know. That sucker. He looked pretty damn awesome that one play.
He was.
And then after that, you heard. He was the best runner in the state.
We kept him pinned up pretty good that night, but we were pretty special on one side of the ball that
year.
You were, yeah. And we played keep away from him too.
Yeah.
the wing tee wasn't all that bad.
No,
Even
no.
back.
No,
that
back in
was
those
even
days,
back-
it was very.
We Maryland-eyed people then.
Yeah, you did.
too. We just got in there and gave it to Duggar about 25 times.
That's right. That's right. Just pounded people
Yeah,
more.
we
around.
did. So
That was fun to watch. Well, we're gonna finish up with the old Hush. Remember the Hush? I used to be a pro wrestler. You know those days. I used to ask for food and money and come to the ring, especially when I'd go overseas and stuff in Japan and stuff. But it did it also in the U.S. But anyway, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Hush, 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 hush. You have a great year. We'll see you in 2021.